Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the 77th edition of Cinema Effect. I'm Zach, and I'm joined by Tobey Maguire's number one hater, Jaden.
That's not true.
Oh, okay.
It's not far off the truth. It's not true.
You're up there. And one of Norman Osborn's alternate personalities, aka Fitzy, aka Liam.
Oh.
Because you're so out there, you know what I mean? You're so wacky. You look into the mirror and talk to yourself, you know?
That's me.
Yeah, I thought so. Exposed. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Cinema Effect, the podcast where we review and talk about a different movie every single Monday. And this week, that movie is Spider-Man, which opened in the US on the 3rd of May, 2002. It was directed by Sam Raimi. It is an action superhero film, and the synopsis tells us, when bitten by a genetically modified spider, a nerdy, shy, and awkward high school student gains spider-like abilities that he eventually must use to fight evil as a superhero after tragedy befalls his family. You know, Jaden's feelings are somewhat documented on this show, you know, but let's... Yeah, I was going to go... Whatever, you know. Fitzy, actually, let's go first with you. Let's go with you first, man. What did you think of Spider-Man?
I mean, honestly, like, my thoughts are probably pretty close to Jaden's. I used to really like the film. I haven't seen it in, like, at least a decade. And I think for the most part, the film is good. Like the score is really great. Danny Elfman's score, like, throughout the whole trilogy is great. You know, the direction is good, from Sam Raimi. And everything's like really exaggerated, I guess, to like give this comic book, to emulate like this comic book tone or feel. And like Tobey Maguire, like in particular, he's just like, you know, he's a bunch of facial expressions in this, you know. He's really a human being, you know.
No.
So I don't think the film's like, it does weaken the film, and yeah, it is like very, very hammy in a lot of aspects. So I think it's like not great, but it's decent.
I just like... That was unintentional. I just love it every time like Fitzy makes a point. Like Jaden and I will pull a face to like show if we agree or not. Like, oh yeah. I'm in a weird place with this movie. Is it good? Not really. There are aspects of it that shine. It's definitely really goofy. A lot of it's bad. A lot of it's sort of quirky and fun. You know, it's sort of... I feel like a lot of that aspect of it is sort of just how you're going to respond. Like, this movie feels... like, it is what it is. I think we can all... I feel like in this review, we're all going to be exactly on the same page with what this movie is, and it's just going to depend on how much we find enjoyment in these little this weird shit that's going on and how goofy and campy it all is. It's fun to experience that campiness to an extent, but it's a thing that with a lot of these sort of cheesy experiences, especially going back, you know, 20 years later, and so much of this just feels... The genre has evolved so much that going back to this is sort of difficult in a lot of ways, you know? And so it was cool as like a time capsule at first for me, like watching it and saying, holy shit, this is what like we thought the idea of a comic book movie should be, you know, at the time. And that's cool to look back at. But by the third act of this movie, I would say I was straight up bored by this movie towards the end. I just didn't really give a shit about what was happening anymore. The amusement of Tobey Maguire's awful acting had sort of, worn off.
He's not a good actor. Thank God, like in this movie at least. Like, but like, thank you for saying that, because like I was looking for people to say it and I just didn't see it anywhere. Thank God. Oh.
We'll get into it for sure. But it's not a bad movie in my opinion. Like, I wouldn't say this is a dog shit movie. I think there are things to like. I think it's entertaining on different levels, but I just wish it's campy. I just wish the campiness, like as a package, sort of made it more enjoyable overall. Whereas I admire it less so than I actually like it, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? It was more of an interesting watch. The start was amusing because I was like getting into it, but by the end, it was more of an interesting watch than a genuinely like, oh, that was enjoyable, you know. Jane, give us your summary.
You guys stole most of my thunder. I will add, because I was trying to think, why do I actually not like this movie? Well, it's not that I don't like it, I just think, why do I think it's average, rather? And I think it does come down to the direction, which Liam said it was good, but, I don't really have a good track record with Sam Raimi. I think his movies are good, but everyone else seems to rate them rather highly, particularly with The Evil Dead. People seem to put it a lot higher than me, and I think it is just that kind of his direction, his trademark, his style that I can't fully measure with, and it is kind of this campiness and it is this humor that he kind of injects in it, and it just does not connect with me in the sort of fullest extent. Yeah, I think Liam's bang on about the score. I think this Spider-Man theme is brilliant. But then yeah, I do think it is weak everywhere else. Especially characters, they're just, they're just cookie cutter characters of what the comic books want them to be, and there's no nuance or real interest or flaw in them, and
That's a fair summary, I think. Yeah. Start off with that positive that we've all sort of brought up. The score is great. Danny Elfman kills it. And it's very consistent too. It's not like when the credits came up at the start, which by the way, shout out to I forgot about those fun CG credit sequences at the start. But they were wiped from my memory. But as soon as it came up, I'm like, oh shit, I forgot all three of these movies have these fun CG credit sequences, which are fun. But
I skipped them each time.
Oh, do you? I mean, yeah. I mean, there's nothing going on, but I think they're amusing. When that score came on, I was like, oh shit, this is decent, right here in the credits. But it's probably what I think, looking back, especially towards the third act, it's the shining aspect of the movie that I could say was consistently good. Even in the final action set piece, which I really was not enjoying, the music was a bright spot there too. So shout out to Danny Elfman. I know he. What else is he known for? Because I know he did, yeah, because he did Justice League, right? Well, not the new one, but that other one. I just know the other 2017 one. Is he known in the superhero genre outside of that? I can't, because I'm just trying to. I know he's famous. I just can't think of anything I've seen him in, but it's got to be a lot, right?
He did Age of Ultron.
Oh, okay.
He did 2 of the Batmans, the 80s ones.
Yeah. Oh, of course. That's yeah. Because it's the Keaton theme.
Hellboy.
Okay.
I did the 2001 Planet of the Apes. Interesting.
Shitloads. You're not wrong. Okay. We brought up Sam Raimi and his direction of this film. I want to throw out there that I think the direction's pretty poor, and I think that a lot of this, to me, comes across as amateur hour from a direction perspective. I feel like so much of it, especially, it has its moments, but especially just dialogue scenes. I feel like I'm watching a network TV show. I feel like I'm watching CSI. The camera doesn't move. It's the most uninteresting thing from a direction perspective, in my opinion. There are exceptions though. I think he does sort of ham it up and inject that personality we're talking about into some of the action scenes. That does add a bit of life to the movie, a bit of personality. But Fitzy, do you mentioned his direction, you like it. Do you agree or disagree? Are there aspects you enjoy more than others?
I think his direction is good, but I think like shot composition and set design plays into it as well. Because some things I noticed was in every scene you always know, they always make it very clear what is standing out. When they're introducing Ben, for example, the whole house is it's all these pale colors, and then Ben is just in his blue shirt, and just in terms of a shot, that looks like a photograph. It really focuses you in on Ben there. And the same is with I don't know, Oscorp. You have just the green floor, and the setting looks very comic booky and looks just a very good image, I guess. But then his action scenes, I guess, are very, they're over the top, and they've got style to them, I guess.
They do, yeah.
Maybe you're right about shot reverse shot, but in terms of the bigger scenes, you can definitely feel the the Sam Raimi-ness or whatever. And I think without the score, this film is pretty bad. But I think Sam Raimi still works well with the score. Like they vibe together pretty well.
That's true. That's true. Go for it.
I think Raimi's direction. I think it dates movies rather rapidly. I think it's evident with The Evil Dead and Army of Darkness, which came out from between the 80s and 90s, but they feel more like that era than any other classic horror movie from that period. As does these Spider-Mans. They feel, the fact that they're only 20 years ago, they do feel older than that. They feel like he kind of catches a time period and then keeps it there, in his film, and it doesn't work for it. And I think the reason that people like it so much is that they're nostalgia merchants, and they are trying to just grab onto this, and that's why it does kind of have this rose tint to it.
That's really interesting. I guess maybe I was sort of chalking that up to, because I totally agree, it's so of its time. I haven't seen any other Sam Raimi movies, but I guess maybe chalk that up to just how much superhero movies have evolved, and what we understand that to be these days. But I think that's a good point. I didn't consider the direction. I think there's definitely an element of that. When you, I'm not nostalgic for this movie at all, but I can understand how you would be, though, just with the action scenes we're talking about. Spider-Man does 80 flips all the time, it's Green Goblin zooming around, Willem Dafoe delivering the worst Saturday morning TV cartoon lines, doesn't he literally says, "We'll meet again, Spider-Man." It's you know what I mean? Yeah. So I can understand. That's a great point. I can understand having nostalgia for those things, but those things don't. They are, by including that in your movie, you are very much firmly planting in the ground that this is of its time right here. We're not seeing that in 2021, are we? You can always make it more compelling, but I feel like the dialogue and the performances from the actors aren't really helping him in that, aren't really elevating his direction very much. You know what I mean? So I don't know if I can place all the blame on those really long exchanges between these characters that are so awkward. I don't know if I can place all the blame on him for that.
How do you mean awkward? Because I think some of the exchanges are manufactured to be awkward, just to match Peter's personality. So what do you mean in that sense? Or do you mean awkward as in just a general film sense?
I guess no. That's a good point. They all the main ones I'm thinking of course, are the all the ones with MJ. There's there's 3 or 4.
When she's outside the diner and then her boss comes out.
Yes, and there's terrible green screen there. It looks so bad. But that, and of course when they're standing in the backyard and they just talk for 5 minutes, and it's just so. Those ones, that's a good point. They probably are manufactured to be awkward, which makes a lot of sense, obviously, given the context of who Peter Parker is. But even still, though, the delivery of Tobey Maguire is so slow, and there's so many long pauses where I'm just this is this is not vibing with me right now, whether deliberate or not. I'm sorry, this is not this isn't it for me. But they are the worst offenders. I would argue there's more I don't know, everything between Tobey Maguire and Willem Dafoe is sort of awkward too. Although I enjoy those a lot more because Willem Dafoe is elevating them. We'll get into. Why not? Let's ask the blanket questions now. Let's ask the hard questions while we're sort of delving into actors and stuff. Jaden, you think Tobey Maguire is good, bad? Put a word on it for me.
Do you mean in this movie or in general?
No, in this movie.
Okay, yeah. Weak. I think that'd be the best because, he's shown to be better everywhere else, but because it's not bad, it's just weak.
That's a great. I think I'd agree with that because I don't know if I'd want to say bad either. Maybe I would. I'd mix between your answer and bad. You know, I don't know. What about you, Fitzy? Because I feel like out there that isn't the popular opinion, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't think that's what a lot of people feel, but
I mean, it's funny. It's hilarious, you know. Like I laughed so many times during this. Like there's a moment where like in the cafeteria or something, MJ says something to him and he just doesn't say anything. And then he like smirks at the end of the scene. It's just like
yes.
I laughed out loud, literally. It's so funny. But yeah, like he's not, you know, he's not good, but he's entertaining, I guess, to watch. He's like, I kind of thought of Patrick Bateman, you know, a little, in that expressiveness.
But this isn't. That's the thing. I don't know how ironic this is, though. You know, I'm not sure.
The thing is, I think you need to question the writing rather than the acting, because when you consider that it's Willem Dafoe, Kirsten Dunst, Tobey Maguire, you know, all these Class A actors who've put in stellar performances before and after this, you know. I think, and like, you know, it's no different in the sequel, so I think it does lay mostly in the writing rather than the acting, and they're kind of forced to give what they're given.
I mean, I think everything that comes out of Willem Dafoe's mouth is awful. Like, the dialogue is so bad, but like I enjoy watching him on screen because he's giving it his all. But it's not just. There's a difference between like watching an actor give it their all and, you know, really try and elevate a scene, but we're watching Willem Dafoe do that while so evidently completely understanding what the movie is, and that's the best part about it. Like, it's not, oh, Willem Dafoe's delivering a killer performance right here. It's no, Willem Dafoe's delivering a killer performance in the perfect tone of what this movie is trying to achieve, and it's like, yes, thank you, because I really, really enjoyed him in the movie. Like, even, dude, like the scenes where he's like talking in the mirror and he's like switching between like, is it meant to be Norman Osborn and Green Goblin are like two different personalities that he's like within him? That's the idea, right?
Yeah, I think so.
They shouldn't work, but they, in my opinion, they work. Those scenes work. I think he really sells it quite well, to be honest. So he's a bright spot for me in the movie. If do you guys feel the same way?
Yeah, he's pretty great. I heard that Sam Raimi didn't want him, but he like, you know, he like pestered him to be in because he really wanted this role. So it looks like he understood.
That's so funny.
Yeah, so it looks like he understood like what he wanted, and he is, yeah, he's the most hammy, but he's the best as well. So
yeah, he finds that mix really well.
He definitely felt like he embraced the Saturday morning tone.
Oh yeah, and he performed 90% of his own stunts. Can you believe that? So
he flew on like that, you know.
He did.
I
don't know if you knew, he actually bounced off that clearly real inflatable thing.
That's so awful. I mean, we watched that scene in media as and to like analyze it. I'm not sure if you were in the class then or if it was like in the later years. And like, I actually think I think we were looking at the role of women in film there and like how Mary Jane's just a damsel, and like, so I think we were actually critiquing it. But like, just having to watch that and like think analytically, it's just fucking, oh my god, like it's just shit.
Dude, it was so bad. It was so bad. You know what's so funny? Like, the second you see though those all those establishing wide shots and how awful they look, like, it's hysterical. Oh, I mean, and there was also that. Don't forget that scene. Did you guys think the scene where Tobey Maguire is mourning with Aunt May about Ben and he's crying? Did you guys get the vibe that Tobey Maguire was trying not to laugh in that scene?
Wait, when he comes back to the house? Or?
He's like sitting in the house and Aunt May walks in behind him and we're focusing on him and he's got tears rolling down his eyes, you know.
It's because he's an American Psycho and he's just putting on the performance.
I just wanted to take note. I thought, I was like, what? I was staring into Tobey Maguire's eyes. I'm like, dude, that guy's trying not to laugh right now really hard. I could see it. I don't know if anyone else noticed that, but that's okay. And J.K. Simmons has showed up in this movie too.
Oh yeah.
Come on, Fitzy, how good is he? Just tell it to me
He's
straight.
pretty great. He's a highlight of the trilogy for sure.
Oh yeah,
he's only
cool.
in
I've got
he's only in like one scene. No, he's in like two scenes.
He's in two scenes, I believe. Here,
He's definitely
he's
Saturday morning as well.
Oh, so yeah. It's so good though. The dialogue there is actually really good. That's really sound.
Oh
God
yeah,
bless him.
that's clever though. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. God bless him also for not when Green Goblin attacked him and like lifted him up. He didn't rat out Peter Parker. Green Goblin asked, because J.K. Simmons. I mean, what's his name? Oh, J. Jonah Jameson. He's clearly a dickwad, but when Goblin asked him who's the guy that took the photos of Spider-Man, he didn't rat out Peter Parker.
Shouldn't the photographer get credit, like, always? Like, don't they put, like, the little name at the bottom, like, left or right of the picture, like, taken by Pete Parker or whatever?
Yeah, absolutely. I believe is that the joke? Well, it's like how he only gets $300. He definitely does not.
Right, yeah.
He definitely needs more than that. How do we feel about everything with Ben in this movie? Because I know it's like tried and true. Everyone knows the Spider-Man origin story, with the great power, we get it, right? But going back to, and obviously everyone gets it so much to the extent where the MCU just doesn't even bother, which I kind of respect. But going back to this original telling of it, for me, like, the exchanges between them, I don't know who plays Uncle Ben, but I like him. It's like the only aspect of the movie that has any remotely emotional resonance with me at all. So for that reason, it stands out. Especially their talk before Peter goes and jumps in the wrestling cage with Randy Savage, when they're in the car. So did this part of the movie vibe with you at all, Jane? Were you tearing up at Uncle Ben's death, when he's there on the curve? On the curb, I should say, sorry.
No, because I think The Amazing Spider-Man does it so much better.
Does
it? Because it's not a direct translation of what's in the comic book to screen. It's rewritten. It's like The Amazing Spider-Man. It's so raw and fucking emotional and better acted. But I will grant that this one's decent. But like, because I have that point of difference, which I prefer the other one. It's
that comparison
more difficult to see this one in a positive light. But I can definitely see its strengths. But I think because I kind of view all the characters as these, comic book cutouts, it's hard to really resonate any emotion at all.
I forgot. I don't remember that at all in The Amazing Spider-Man, so I don't. But that makes sense. I like how. I mean, it's everything in this movie is like hammed up, not very subtle. You know what I mean? That's what this movie is, and that's fine. But so take that with a grain of salt with what I'm going to say. Like, keep that in mind. But I do like the character moment when related to this, of course, when Peter like lets the dude go. He lets him run and escape from stealing the money. That person then goes on to shoot his uncle. It's not the most like amazingly executed thing in the world by any means. The way I feel like Tobey Maguire in that scene comes across like he's a 12-year-old who's like absorbing all of life's lessons at once, where he literally walks into the room. The guy's like, I'm not going to give you any money. Why should I give a shit? And then like a minute later, Tobey Maguire, like he's just learnt this lesson for the first time in his life, has the same conversation with the guy. He's like, well, why'd you let him go? Why should I give a shit? Like he just literally like echoes him. Which is pretty funny. So it's not the most like in-depth thing, crazy, well thought out thing ever. But in terms of themes, in terms of character development, and how that choice is the foundation fundamental to him becoming Spider-Man in the first place. I do quite like that element of the movie and the fact that it's there, Because up until that point, we see him he's playing with his powers, he's trying to become Spider-Man or what we know him to be. But up until that point, it's just like, oh, he just got cool powers and he's trying to run around New York, you know what I mean? There's no real emotional or thematic purpose to it. So I like that they attempt to add that,
You're going to love Spider-Man 3. You can just love it.
What made you specifically say that in this moment though?
I agree. It's good though.
Yeah.
And when he actually like goes, when he like when he's chasing him across the city, and he's like the swing scene, I guess, and he needs to swing above the lights. Like I thought that was good, and that's an example of Sam Raimi's direction there. I think it's like unique and exciting, I guess.
Sure. But wait, how does Spider-Man 3 relate to that though? There's definitely something you think of specifically, isn't there?
No, we'll just wait. We'll just wait till.
Oh, okay. All right. You don't want to spoil it.
Have you
I've
seen
seen that
Spider-Man
movie
3?
once. I've seen it once.
Okay.
Yeah. But speaking of Sam Raimi, I know we sort of did this already, but I forgot to mention I did really like, and I wish we got more of, in terms of him doing cool stuff with the camera. I did really like, or visually, it's not. I guess it's not in camera, but that moment in the high school where like Peter gets his powers for the first time and he punches, what's his face, Flash? Is that his name? And he punches him. I like that little sequence where we get like the CG shot of the camera like zooming in on all the little things in the environment around him. Like it zooms in on the fly and then like some spit or something. What do you remember this?
Yeah.
Whatever the hell it was. That was a cool little thing with the camera, and that happened pretty early in the movie. So I was hoping something like that would sort of come back in a larger way. It didn't really, but shout out to that scene. It was cool.
I think the scene where he like transforms, or when he's in his room and he's like dizzy, like that's actually like really short. It's like 10 seconds, but it's just like the camera tilting and like the sense of like vertigo. Like that's a really well directed in camera scene, I think. But yeah, the scene you're talking about is pretty.
Those are the things that when I brought up the movie has its moments. It really does visually. Of course, huge shout out to the pro wrestling making absolutely no sense. You know what I mean? I love that. Love that in movies. Of course, continue to misrepresent my beloved industry. You know what I mean?
Right, you don't get an actual crowbar and try and beat the shit out of your competitor.
So crazily, no. But the weirdest thing about it, the mind fuck of it all, was the fact that it's clear it's pro wrestling, right? Like it's clearly pro wrestling. Like all the moves, it's literally Randy Savage in there. It's which is a cool cameo. Rest in peace. It's like presented that way. He like does the move off the top rope, of course, but like it's meant to be a real fight.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
it's not.
It made no sense. Yeah. It's like, oh wow, what a devastating elbow drop from the top. That would really kill you. So yeah, I thought that was funny. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of There's a lot of all the stuff at Oscorp, man. Every time we cut back there, it's just like that's when the movie that's when it bores me, and it starts inserting all the most tropey like Michael Bay dialogue. You know what I mean? In terms of we get all the scenes with the scientists.
This is what all the movies are, though, and that's why I don't understand people's praise for it, because this is a consistent theme with all the films, where it is just tropes and just, shitty archetypes plugged in and then just, fused together and made to work. Like, because in the next one, which I don't want to spoil because, it's still a month away, but Doc Ock is no different to any other villain. Especially, he's not a good fucking villain.
Oh, all right, spicy. I'm looking forward to getting that. But yeah, I mean, just in this movie, I feel that it's just, the Oscorp projects and oh my god, But sir, the project isn't ready. What will we do? I'm shutting you down. Like all this, like the most bullshit, like B plot, action movie shit that we've seen 1,000 times. To be fair though, maybe this movie created that. I don't know. Maybe I doubt it. I don't think so. If Michael Bay existed before this, then which he did, then I don't think.
If he existed,
he did it first. If he was roaming the earth.
With your love for Transformers, Jaden, would it be fair to say that Michael Bay's direction elevates, those films?
Oh yeah, I think I've definitely talked about it with Zach in the past, but I don't know. I'm not sure if it's on the show, but you want Transformers with Michael Bay because he is kind of balls to the walls, action crazy, hero shots, lens flares, kind of carnage. Like, you don't want to watch a Transformers movie without that,
Mm.
You sort of do, though, don't you? Like, what about
Look, you can't,
Bumblebee?
I don't like Bumblebee, though. That's the thing. Like, you want Michael Bay for you want a co-direction type thing. You want Michael Bay for like the big stuff, and then just anyone else for like the the minute to minute small stuff.
Sure.
Right. Well,
but every time Michael Bay does a hero shot, I'll give it a 10 out of 10.
Sure. Kind of the same with these, right? Like, it's not good writing and it's not good characters, but it's directed really well and the score is really great, and it's like these things, they elevate the films.
But I'd also argue that Transformers is better acted, surprisingly. I'd argue that the CG is far superior.
And
absolutely. Like, even when you compare it to the 2000, like Spider-Man 3 and Transformers 1 came out both 2007, and even when you use those as a comparison, Transformers is far superior. I'd argue the scale, and I'd argue the plot is much more interesting.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, in general, though, like, direction elevates films,
Yeah, and I guess that's why I said at the start, Sam Raimi has generally not gelled with me, so I can acknowledge that.
Sure. There's the end of this movie. This movie has an ending, I mean, before that, this movie actually, to be fair, actually less so in the movie. I wish the movie did better, but I like the end of the movie. I like when the whole dilemma, the character issues that arise from Peter's relationship with Harry and Peter knowing that Norman is Green Goblin and that he killed Norman. You know what I mean? When he hits the button, like, what was that? You know what I mean? No, he killed himself, really, didn't he? That was real dumb.
There's just no thoughts in his head at that moment, just vibes.
just anger. Yeah.
Absolutely, that was real dumb. But I like where the movie ends, and hopefully, I know the sequels obviously deal with this significantly. I just don't remember how good it is in terms of Harry and Peter's relationship. Harry loves Peter, but he wants to kill Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Like, that's good character drama, which I like, and I like that we end off on that in this movie to sort of leave us with a thread for the sequels. We'll see how they do it, but I enjoyed that.
I think it's so stupid, like, to go down that thought path of Spider-Man standing over my dead father. Oh, that definitely means that he killed him. It's like, just doesn't make like once again, there's just no thoughts in his head at that moment. Like,
yeah, like Willem Dafoe's death. I mean, it's like, I feel like I have this weird memory when I watched this movie when I was 10 or something of that death being like powerful or something. I don't know how, like, a human being can believe that. You know what I mean? Because
when's the line where he's like says something along like, sooner or later they're going to start to hate you or something like that? Does he say that when he dies?
No,
when he talks about, like, they love a hero, but one thing that they can get behind more than that is a villain or some shit.
I think he says that like on the rooftop when he's trying to.
When he captures him earlier, yeah.
Okay.
We just did that,
dude. The glider goes right in his groin, man. It's painful.
But I feel at that point though, with like how sharp and the force in which that collided with him, like, wouldn't that just completely decimate and destroy everything in that area of your body to where, like, the specific pain of that hitting your groin area wouldn't even really matter? You know what I mean? Like, it just tore everything apart to the extent where it's just like, this thing is just through me now,
It makes me feel weird just thinking about it, like.
Yeah, it really
does.
You'd
be in like ultra shock as well, so it'd be like,
that's true.
Doesn't that like lessen the pain or something? I thought when you talk about the ending, I thought you could talk about what it also ends with, which is like the whole dual life thing with Peter as Spider-Man, as Peter as Peter Parker and his relationship with MJ and stuff.
Yeah, that should piss me off. There's no reason for him to reject her at the end because she already figures it out. I mean, like, just like
But she doesn't figure it out.
she
That's
does, dude. She does.
But by the next one, she doesn't know.
I don't
No,
think she knew.
There's 100% a moment of like
No,
there
is.
There is you can see visible realization on her face.
I
And
agree,
like as
but
if she doesn't know, like even in that alley scene earlier, as if you don't recognize his voice or whatever. Like it's,
he said the same line.
She knows.
He said, "I'm in the neighborhood." Like he just said that to her
like 3 minutes ago.
She should know, but she doesn't.
That was
But like
terrible.
in the second one, I don't think she like knows, right? Because at the end there's like a reveal or whatever. So anyway,
No,
I don't know.
she doesn't know in the second one, but yeah, I like that gets explored in the second one though, like, you know, his dual life, which is like the main kind of thing the second one's about.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I didn't think there was a moment of realization. I was more thinking like
she like
right, like in the performance you can see it.
Yeah, she like her eyes like lit up, you know.
Oh, that's weird.
It's kind of like this kind of little head whip, you know. It's like
well, that sounds that then sounds like a thing where when they're writing the second one, it's like, oh, but she never actually said it, so we can make this the theme of the movie now, and we can just like ignore that. That sounds that has that written all over it then. Unfortunately, but why did he dump her at the end? You know,
because he doesn't want to. Yeah, he doesn't want to like keep her too close, so she's like in danger. You know.
I mean, she was already in danger, squealing like 4 times in the movie. So I mean, like,
and she'll be the same in the second one, but like, you know,
right?
Still, that's like the idea.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I get that. That makes sense. But yeah, man, I'm just excited to see how this unfolds. Like, what's James Franco? What's he going to do? You know, is he going to become the Green Goblin? I know the answer to this question.
Like,
I'm asking it like that. Like, I know the answer to all this. But yeah, man. You know that scene when they're having Thanksgiving dinner, and like Peter turns up late, and Norman's there, and for some reason Norman calls Aunt May, which is the weirdest thing, which I noticed. But I feel like that scene, you know, I love a good scene in a movie where there's two characters and they both know like each other's secret. They both know what's going on. They're both like a plane above everyone else in the scene, but then they're having a conversation with everyone else at the dinner table and they're like they're sending each other signals, but no one else gets it. Like that kind of scene in a movie. I love that. And I thought this movie was going to have one right there at the dinner table where like Willem Dafoe and Tobey Maguire having like a conversation where they understand what they're saying to each other, but no one else does. But I was let down because at that point, Peter doesn't know.
Yeah,
who Green Goblin is. Yeah,
that was like that would make the blood. I think the blood scene is good as well, but like that would make that better as well if you knew.
Yeah.
How stupid's just like the little moment before that where like he has to go into the burning building and Green Goblin's in there with like
his little cloak on.
That's a fun sequence. Like the freaking things he throws at him and the
like
right there.
Why did he have to like dress up? Like why'd it have to be like a jump scare like moment of like, you know, surprise? Like
that was funny. Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny. And just how it makes no sense that like why Green Goblin, like he captured Peter Parker. He had him in his custody. He like took him up to the building. It was nighttime at the end. He had him presumably for hours, and he didn't take off his mask.
Maybe he didn't know how. He just thought it was like his face.
He just thought this is this alien in front of me right now. I don't know how to deal with this. Yeah, that was weird. I didn't get that. I can give you some trivia if you like.
Not
Jaden,
really.
can you screw it, I'm doing it anyway. Can you believe this, Jaden? David Fincher was asked to direct this film. His version would have told the origin story in the opening credits and would have been based on the comic The Night Gwen Stacy Died. Now, I know nothing about that comic, but is that The Amazing Spider-Man 2?
Yeah, I imagine it would be.
Yeah, so we got that movie eventually, anyway.
Yeah, like, It's interesting because like, I wouldn't mind seeing what Fincher would do to it, but then again, like, I wouldn't want his career to end in 2002.
That's great. Yeah, it's a great point. You can see what Finch's Spider-Man would look like, but you will never get anything after that from him ever, because he'll be like living homeless somewhere.
Yeah, no Mindhunter.
No Mindhunter. No. Oh, he would have done 7 already. That's okay. He never any
No
Gone
Gone Girl.
Girl.
Zodiac.
Yeah.
No Benjamin Button.
God damn it. Oh well. Hugh Jackman revealed that he was supposed to have a cameo as Wolverine. Jackman actually showed up to New York to film the scene, but the plan was scrapped when they couldn't get access to the Wolverine costume in time.
They could just chuck him in a leather jacket and like it'd be the same effect.
They really could. Why did he need the Wolverine costume? You know what I mean?
Hold on, is it X-Men with 20th Century at that point? And Spider-Man was with who at that point? Sony still? Right?
Sony. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Oh. And studios just weren't selfish assholes back then and they'd allow crossovers.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, Aunt May talks about Superman as well. She says, like, you're not Superman, you know.
That's true. I thought that was kind of... I guess that's because this is all the infancy of Marvel having any movies of consequence at all. I guess they sort of didn't mind sort of, creating a bit of excitement with each other. Well, the superhero genre isn't what it is today.
Yeah, just last thing, Kirsten Dunst's MJ is the worst romance in any of them.
Oh, yeah.
She's useless. She's horrible.
Is this controversial to say that I thought she was better than Tobey Maguire?
I don't know, but...
I think she was. I think she wasn't great either, but I think she was. I don't know, just Tobey Maguire's... Again, this is the screwed, but even he's still... Actually, it's both. It's both. His Spider-Man is so, at least to me, a huge redeeming part of his character is like his trash talk and his witty dialogue. This movie was so bad in that department.
What you didn't like when he says to Randy Savage, "Did your boyfriend make your outfit?"
Yeah, terrible, awful line. And then and they don't even try sometimes, and then when they do, it's just not good. Yeah.
What was the one with Green Goblin? I think it was in the building. It was really bad. I can't remember though.
I can't remember it either. It was bad. It was bad. Final verdicts for Spider-Man, Fitzy.
Oh yeah. One thing I might have talked about was like it is a fun movie to watch, I guess, because it's all goofy and stuff, but it does drag down the serious moments a bit. And yeah, like Ben's death, he said it had an emotional impact on me, but it was just, I don't know, it was kind of fine for me. And like, because the movie is such a big, meme reel, I guess, it's like doesn't really compute, but
yeah,
I don't know, 6 out of 10. It's still like a decent film, still entertaining, and yeah, we'll see what the sequel holds, I guess. Yeah,
we will. What about you, Jade?
Like 5.5.
Oh, that's crazy.
Nah, but since we use whole numbers, 6.
I'll give it a 5. It's complicated. But I will, just to echo Fitzy's point, I totally couldn't agree with him more with what he just said. The goofiness of it is going to either, really vibe with you or not, and going to determine how much you enjoy it. And that's all well and good when it comes to just your pure enjoyment of the movie. But I think it's undeniable that those elements detract from the gravity of the story, no matter, regardless of whether you think it's entertaining or not, And at the end of the day, especially with what we've gotten since, I just think that those things are holding the movie back from being genuinely like, oh shit, that was a good movie, that was a great movie. Which, so in that sense, I wish it wasn't as goofy, but at the same time, it's sort of core to its identity. So we're just going back to what I said at the start. It's complicated.
I was just gonna say, I've seen it thrown around like these are like the last like genuine comic book movies, and like everything after that is like this actually feels like a comic book movie, whereas everything after has felt like different.
Yeah, well, I can see that, but
I think
for me personally,
as well, does feel like a comic book. But
sorry,
Into the Spider-Verse probably is an exception to that. But
yeah,
is that more just aesthetically though? Like, I don't know if tonally.
No, because it's got like those transitions, like those comic book transitions, you know. And like in terms of the stories, like I think the fast moving nature of this and Spider-Verse, and like in terms of the origin story and stuff, it's like feels very comic bookish.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can see that. I can
And
see
how
that.
like defined the characters are, like very interesting like designs. Like Green Goblin looks like shit, but you know he's like
It's iconic.
it's iconic. Yeah.
Yeah, it is absolutely. If this, by someone's argument, is the last comic book movie or whatever, then to be honest, I'm glad it is. I'm glad it was. I'm glad this isn't what we think of comic book movies. For me personally.
Well, like these and like Brandon Routh's Superman are like,
Oh yeah,
you know, they're comic book movies. You know,
sure. I was trying to scan the news if there was anything comic book related to like make the transition smoother, but there's surprisingly this is probably the only week in history there hasn't been a comic book news story. Fantastic Beasts 3. Get your streamers out, guys. Everyone loves this franchise, right? Everyone's stoked for it. Got a title. It's called Fantastic Beasts and the Secrets of Dumbledore.
I don't think it's I think it's just The Secrets of Dumbledore.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Because, sorry, you're absolutely right. I'm used to the naming convention of Harry Potter being and the, but you're right. It's coming out in April of next year, which is I found very surprising. I feel like that snuck up on us, to be honest. Especially, you know, you chat all the time here on the show. We talk about movies ages away. This is pretty damn close, to be honest. So it came as a surprise to me. Although Mads was cast as Grindelwald, that was about a year ago, wasn't it? That was a while ago. So they've had time to, you know, they cast him, and I presume they probably started shooting not long after. So I guess it lines up.
They could have been shooting beforehand, just different scenes that he wasn't in. Yeah.
Of course, yeah, no, because remember we talked about Johnny Depp shot a scene and they had to pay him. I forgot about that. That's so funny. That's crazy. So yeah, man, Fantastic Beasts, Secrets of Dumbledore. Of course, I think we understand. Have we both seen we've all seen the end of the second one? Yes. Yeah. So that was an interesting twist when the Flash became a Dumbledore, you know? So.
Right.
Yeah, so I guess, you know, we'll find out more about that and stuff. It's the secret of Dumbledore. And Albus will be there as Jude Law again. I know we've sort of discussed this at different points, but does anyone care about this franchise? Like anyone, you know?
Time spent in the Harry Potter universe is welcome, and I'll always take it. But like, you know, do I need to know Dumbledore's secrets? No. And honestly, like, what are they going to give me? Like, I think in Deathly Hallows, like the book, they give a brilliant little description of his past life in that little excerpt from the book or whatever. And like, that's all you could possibly give me in the movie, and that's all I'd care about. Like, why would I even want that when I have it in the book, you know?
Yeah. It's like, I'm totally with you. It's so bizarre to me that you've got Harry Potter, a beloved friend. I love Harry Potter. I know you love Harry Potter, Jane. Harry Potter is huge. Everyone loves Harry Potter. And never have I seen a sequel/prequel movie franchise kill any sort of excitement for a franchise, for an IP, for a property faster than this. Like, it's insane. It's honestly bewildering to me. And it's entirely, or almost entirely, I guess you can make other arguments, but as far as when that movie came out in 2018, like, it's almost entirely based on the quality of the movies. Like, it's not on anything else, you know what I mean? It's not a situation where, because I think people still love Harry Potter. I don't think that's lost any relevance in pop culture necessarily. It's not a situation, my point is, where like, oh, people loved Harry Potter 20 years ago and now they're making a sequel and it's too late. You know what I mean? I don't think that's true. I think if the right Harry Potter film was made, it'd be huge. I just don't think anyone cares about this story, you know?
I mean, they're adapting material from nothing. That's the thing. Like, Fantastic Beasts was just like an 150-page like little manual about like weird creatures. You know, it wasn't even like a real story. It's like they kind of, I don't know. You know, is there 4 or 5 of them planned?
Well, there was 5, and then wasn't there a story once how they're going to reduce that number or something?
It was like 3 to 5, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see. Dude, if I walk into the theater, watch this movie, and it concludes, and it was a trilogy, and it's over, I'd be stoked. Like, and not just because I'm like being a little bitch, like I want the shit to end, hurry up. Like, I just mean in terms of if they're able to deliver a satisfying conclusion to a story I didn't give a shit about, like I'd be stoked. If I walk out and it's like
is not a that's not
it's
a
not an
trilogy. That's not a
ending
it's not an ending title.
is it?
Yeah.
No, I totally agree. I don't think that'll happen, unfortunately. It's just such a weird choice to have Newt Scamander, this weird zoo dude, like be the protagonist of this series with like, it's like, dude, even the synopsis of this movie that was released, it's like, I'm not going to read it, but it's literally like Gellert Grindelwald is amassing a force of army and Dumbledore's going to stop him, and then also Newt is there. Like, it's basically what it says. It's like, why is he there? What has he got anything to do with any of this shit? You know?
Well, isn't in the second one? Doesn't like the story kind of divulge into 2 parts as well?
Yeah, it does. It's like, why is this called Fantastic Beasts? What other beasts have got anything to do with this story? You know, this is a war of the Wizarding Age between Grindelwald and the Dumbledores and Light and Dark, and then also our protagonist is like chasing beasts around for some reason.
Like the young Dumbledore, what's his name?
Ezra Miller, like the actor, or what's his actual name in the?
Yeah, I don't know, but like him and like his story is probably more interesting, and I hope that is what this one's about. And like, you know, him and Grindelwald and Dumbledore, that's enough there, you know.
Definitely.
Like, you don't need this other guy. Yeah.
Yeah, and not just this other guy, but the whole other cast of characters. Like, don't forget, like all of them. Why, like, every single one of them. You know, I totally agree with you. Yesterday, the cast of Illumination's Super Mario movie was announced. All right, now this was announced during the Nintendo Direct live stream I was watching live. This is one of the funniest moments I've ever experienced. Like, it's one thing reading the article of it afterwards, right? The way they announced this with the weird, like, it's all Japanese people talking, right? So they have like the English dude translating them, and like the way he's like translating this announcement is hysterical. And they announced it one by one. It wasn't like, here's the list. It was like, it started off, Chris Pratt will be Mario, and that's already hilarious. And then it just kept going and going and going. It's like, why? Why is this happening? You know? So anyway, it's Chris Pratt's Mario, Anya Taylor-Joy is Peach, Charlie Day is Luigi, Seth Rogen is Donkey Kong, and Jack Black is Bowser, and Keegan-Michael Key is Toad. How bizarre is this movie going to be, dude?
That's hilarious.
They should just get him in the booth to record like the little like grunts and noises they do in the game, and like just that be it.
Yeah, like what all the like he makes all those like all those weird dumb noises that he makes. Oh Christ, dude! I couldn't stop laughing. It's this is one of the funniest like news things that has come around in a long time, in my opinion. I'm trying to imagine this movie's coming out in November next year. This is real. This is happening. This is an Illumination film, which I think is great, by the way. Like, I'm not a huge Despicable Me guy at all, but like those guys making, like, I know their art style, that their CG style of film, I think will gel with Mario. I think that's good. And it's obviously, it being all CG, I would assume we're not getting bullshit where it's like, you know, Sonic, where it's like Mario's in the real world. You know what I mean? They sort of, I don't think that's it.
Yeah, did you ever? I think it was on ABC3. I think it was way older. I think it was like reruns, but like there's like a Super Mario show where like they were like plumbers in the real world, and they would actually go down into like, you know, the Mushroom Kingdom or whatever it is, and like they would have this kind of real world.
The animated show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's a classic.
So you don't think they'll do that when it's like half real world, half?
Well, I don't remember. Is that true? Like, they actually go to a real world in that show? I thought it was always the Mushroom Kingdom, but I swear they go to the real world. They might.
Maybe not.
Maybe so. I'm not going to swear either way. Honestly, if that's true, then if they do that, I swear to God. But like, I don't know. I'm so curious. That's really all I can take away from this. I'm 1000% going to see this movie in theaters, like without a doubt. No matter there's honestly in my opinion, there's no losing here. If the movie's great, it's great. Great movie, hip hip hooray. If the movie's terrible, it's going to be hysterical, right? Even if the movie's average, I'm still gonna, as a big Mario fan, I'm still gonna get a big kick out of like seeing all these weird character interactions on the theater screen. Like I'm gonna get a kick out of this no matter what. So I'm stoked. You know,
how do you adapt a story from a side scroller though? I mean, like,
well, you know, there's all the
AAA
3D games are more than that. But to your point, like, what's it gonna be like? Mario saves Peach, like what?
Yeah, it's a bit boring.
Very boring.
I mean, how is this not being made yet, though? Like, it's one of the biggest IPs that hasn't been, like, turned into a film, you know?
There was a film in, like...
Remember that live-action movie?
Yeah.
No.
There's a Mario live-action movie.
It's grody as. Like, it's...
Is it Danny DeVito? No, it's not, is it?
Does he play a character in it?
He might.
I don't know. I didn't think so, but you saying that kind of sparked something.
Super Mario Bros. 1993.
Yeah.
Fitzy, your question was a really good one. To answer your question, that's the reason Nintendo has never allowed it since. That's the reason.
Oh, okay.
Because it was like a huge bomb for them.
Didn't they drag Miyamoto out for the announcement?
Yeah, he announced it. Yeah, he was there.
Poor dude.
Poor guy. Well, apparently, like, you know, it's always hard to tell, and we always find out more about this usually when a movie comes out. But they made a big deal on the poster, like Nintendo and Illumination presents. Like they're trying to make it clear, understandably so, that they are here doing this with them. This isn't something where they're just like, hey, take Mario and do whatever you want. Like, so, and Miyamoto's a producer on the movie. I don't know what his filmmaking chops are, but like he's got input. So, but I just, to get to the heart of this, I just want everyone to close their eyes and imagine Mario with Chris Pratt's voice. Like, I just want you all to do that and tell me that doesn't freak you out a little bit.
The OG voice actor's still alive, right?
Yeah, he's in the movie, they said. Not as Mario.
Fuck's that.
It's so weird. But then, oh my God, I just can't with this. It's gonna be absolutely terrific. Now it's time for our highlights of the week. Jaden's excited. Tell us what he's been watching.
I watched Werewolves Within, which is a video game adaptation, I believe.
Yeah, and speaking of Ubisoft.
Is that them?
Yeah.
Ah, who knew? It was really good. I really enjoyed it. I was aware that it wasn't received that positively, but like, you know, I wanted to watch it because it's a 21 film, and you know, I just wanted to watch more films from this year. But like, it's really good. It's really funny. It's really engaging. You know, it could have done a little bit more in the horror department because it is meant to be a horror comedy blend, but like, it is genuinely good. It's like, it's a bit like The Thing or like anything else like that, of like, you know, who is the werewolf? You know, that's the entire plot. So it's, you know, it's not exactly revolutionary, but like it does it really well, and I think the cast is surprisingly great, especially the leads. Because like, I didn't know like Milana Vaintrub, but I only know her as she voices Squirrel Girl in Marvel stuff, and she's also in commercials. So I didn't know that she could carry a movie, but she can. And same with the actual lead. I think his name's Sam something, I forget, but he's really great. I've seen him in a bunch of supporting roles, but he's top quality. The setting's awesome. The writing's great. The dialogue, you know, this little back and forth I have. It moves really fast, but like, you know, it kind of does good things for the movie and bad things. You know, things feel a bit unfounded, but like, you're never bored or tired, you know. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it's definitely, you know, I don't think it deserves like the 2 point something or like low 3 or whatever it has on Letterboxd.
Oh, okay, sure. How did you watch it?
I rented it.
Whoa!
What?
Okay.
Oh my God. Okay, I'll talk. Okay, this is just one episode, but a new season of Survivor came out after after like a year. They took like a year break because of COVID. It's called. They usually have like an interesting name, like Survivor, like brains versus brawn versus beauty, or like blood versus water, or something like that. But this one's called. It's revolutionary. It's called Survivor 41. That's the name.
Like Sum 41?
Because it's the 41st
because
season?
it's 41st season. But like
Now, for the record, which country Survivor is this?
Oh, the real one, American Survivor. Australian Survivor is not real. So.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm not in the Survivor fan base, so yeah, thank you.
I mean, I don't know if other people feel that way, but I feel that way just because Americans, they're more ruthless, so it's actually like more entertaining. But yeah, they're introducing new elements which are really interesting. Like there was 2 tribes that went to tribal council this week, but also like there was this interesting like prisoner's dilemma thing they did, and like it's Jeff is advertising it as like a different like a unique season. All right, they're gonna take like a unique path forward and do some interesting stuff. Which they kind of have done in the past with like the Retribution Island or whatever it was. But I mean, yeah, I'll be watching. I'm a Survivor fanboy, so I'll be watching this every Thursday night. Yeah, I'm excited.
How do you watch the US one? Is it on Go or something?
Yeah, it's on Go. This was a 2-hour episode.
Oh, holy shit!
Yeah, but it's on at 7:30 at Thursday.
How long does a season typically run? Is it like 10 episodes, 20 episodes?
This is going to be a shorter season. Usually it would. So there's 18 people, and when they have 3 people, they do the vote. So it'd probably be about 15 episodes, I guess. But it's a shorter season, so probably like 12 or something.
I'm not going to lie. I never expected a Survivor review on the show, but I'm more than happy that we got it. Fitzy, have you talked about the father on this program?
I don't know. Did I? I can't remember.
I don't think you did. I just wanted to make sure, because I don't want to be redundant. But I watched The Father. It's a really good movie. I liked it quite a bit. I understand the universal love. I am a part of the universal love without going overboard. You know what I mean? Anthony Hopkins is incredible, genuinely, and it goes beyond. I think, like people talk about Oscar bait, right? I think there's a level of, on the paper, looking at, without seeing the movie, Anthony Hopkins plays a dude with dementia, of how, all Anthony Hopkins has to do is show up and be a confused old man and he's going to get an Academy Award because he's Anthony Hopkins. Like, I understand that perception potentially, but he really delivers beyond anything, above and beyond that, in my opinion. I don't want to claim to be any expert by any means at all. I have a limited experience with dementia in person, and just you can see he really studied people. You can see it, and I'm sure people who have experienced it in far more in depth than I have can attest to that too. He's truly remarkable in the movie. He deserves that Best Actor award he got. But where the movie I love the movie as a concept. I love the premise. I love the awareness it brings and the emotional heart it brings to that topic. Where it lets down for me is just a little bit in the execution of the core, and I won't spoil. I don't actually. Yeah, I won't spoil it. It's actually kind of hard now that I think about it. But the core idea of the movie and how it tries to, the gimmick in quotes of the movie, and how it tries to put you in the shoes of a patient with dementia through confusing the audience. Anyone who Fitzy, I'm sure you know what I'm getting at. It is a spoiler. Like, it's you get it in the first 10 minutes, but I didn't know it going in, and it's sort of cool. But I just think that in moments, that approach, as cool as it is, once you see what it's going for, it does detract from the movie, I think, in spots. It takes away from the heart of the story, I think. I'm sorry. I was going to go more in detail, but now I realise I actually would be spoiling it by doing that, so I don't want to do that. Now I realise on the spot. But it's a good movie. I would definitely recommend it to people.
Like, I think the element you're talking about is pretty good. You know, but maybe it made me feel sad, you know?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. Yeah, it did too. And I can understand why. Yeah, anyone who's going through that would kill them. I get it. All right. As always, now we hand the show over to you with our question of the show. Last week we asked you, let's try and bring it up a bit here. Who was your favourite Spider-Man? Luke said, my favourite Spider-Man is the Tom Holland Spider-Man. I sort of remember the Tobey films, but not really. I know that I hated the Andrew version, but I don't know if I actually hate him or just think that I hate him. I'll probably try and rewatch them all with you and have a new assessment. But until then, I'll say I like Holland the best. Thank you, Luke. I don't think we don't really plan on doing the Andrew ones, do we? So I don't think you'll be rewatching those with us. To Jaden's dismay, I'm sorry. Are we going to do Far From Home? Oh, excuse me, No Way Home on the show? We should probably should.
Like, isn't that the point of doing these?
It's sort of yeah. It really is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we probably should. Dude, December's. We got to do all these on the show, right?
Oh shit!
Matrix,
wait, what date?
Matrix, Dune, and Spider-Man. We got to do them all on the show, right? But that's going to be crazy, December. Andy said, not taking part in the drama. All right, we'll suit yourself. But Peter Griffin is the best Spider-Man. Enough said. Everybody gets one. And then he linked the video. I don't know if you guys got to check it out, but it was certainly Family Guy, you know? Yeah, Peter Griffin was doing his thing. Thank you, Andy. Now, I feel like we take Luke and Andy for granted to an extent just because I read them every week and we say thanks or whatever, but you guys holding the fort down. When everyone else lets us down, Luke and Andy are there. So huge shout out to you guys. Thank you very much. We really do appreciate it from the bottom of our cold hearts. Jaden, let's get it out of the way. Who's your favourite Spider-Man?
It's a tough one. I had to think so long, you know. I had to big analytical, Excel spreadsheets and, AutoCAD drawings and shit.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it was a big thought process for me.
Did you do that thing on Letterboxd where you get the average score of like each actor and had to do it that way?
Yeah, and conclusion I came to was surprisingly Andrew Garfield. Yeah, I didn't expect this one. Yeah, it's crazy how this came up, you know. I guess he is just a better actor, more emotion, better story, just more engaging Peter Parker. Awesome Spider-Man, great dialogue, really quippy. Yeah, it's strange how he beat all the others out, because it just, it's almost as if he's just better in every aspect.
Wow. Do you think at the heart of this that in a past life you were a skateboarder and you just really resonate with him having a skateboard?
Yeah, it's funny because it could be like my Tony Hawk days back in 2007 or whenever Pro Skater 2 was out. Maybe it's that. Peter does have a Dogtown and the Z-Boys poster, and I do like that movie a lot. I do have a skateboard sitting there, so it could be.
We solved it. That's it. What about you, Fitzy?
Just in case you guys didn't get my joke, by the way, I said that's amazing.
Oh.
Anyway. It's hard because Tom Holland is like better teenager or whatever, but I think Andrew Garfield is the funner Spider-Man to watch, Like as Spider-Man, he's the best actual Spider-Man, No, I'll say Andrew Garfield. Yeah, Andrew Garfield. Just beats him.
Holy shit. I can't believe this. My favourite Spider-Man is undoubtedly Yuri Lowenthal from PS4. Absolutely sensational.
Oh, okay.
Kills it. Just kills it. And my brother's playing that game right now, and I already had my answer, obviously, for this. And I was just listening to him for 10 minutes last night, just swinging around and just his dialogue and his quippy lines all the time. He just kills it. And then, of course, in the game has incredibly emotional cutscenes. He just kills it there too. He he delivers so hard, dude. It's unbelievable. You know, like if I'm the conversation that this question is obviously geared around is the live action Spider-Man. In that, I would say Tom Holland. I don't really remember Andrew very well, so like take that with a grain of salt, I guess. But my conversation would be Tom Holland would be my answer. But dude, Yuri kills Tom Holland. Like it's not even close.
What
so
do
huge shout out to him.
What do you think of? Because like I really want to play those games. But like, what do you think of Spider-Man or like Miles Morales as just like, you know, a Spider-Man's like the story or like as a film? You know, do you think it's good
Of the games as just the story?
Yeah.
Sensational, especially the first one. Miles is solid. I enjoyed that story. It's definitely engaging, but like Miles, I would put on the level. The story wise, I'd put on the level of like a good superhero movie story. You know what I mean? Like that was, in my opinion, a good like a 7 out of 10 sort of level story. You know what I mean? Whereas the Peter's story in the original game is like is up there with like top tier video game stories for me. Like actually that's sort of against the question. You compare it to movies, but like a 9 out of 10 story. It's sensational. That's it. No, sorry. Oh, God. As always, we'd love you to submit your questions, thoughts, reviews for next week's film in the YouTube comment section. Send us a DM on Instagram or chuck it in the Discord. Next week, our question is, we're asking you, what is your favourite anime film or show? Your favourite anime thing? Let us know.
And we are talking about Japanese-style anime, not just animation in general.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Now, that's it for this week's episode. I'm all out of order. Fitzy, what are we doing next week?
We're doing an anime, Redline. Sorry, I just wanted to do that. Say that.
That was good.
Anyway, Redline is a film I found on Prime. It's a driving film where it looks pretty crazy, you know. It looks like it's got a unique style, so
cool. Get pumped for that. We appreciate everyone tuning in. I appreciate you guys joining me as always. Have a great rest of your week, listener. And I mean you guys too, anyone and everyone. And goodbye.